Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm out and about again. I'm at a place called Elton Reservoir, which is just outside of Bury. You may be asking why I've come to a reservoir. Well, it is the feeder reservoir for the Manchester Bolton and Bury Canal. Now this place is stunning, so I'm going to turn the camera around so you can have a good look at the place where I am. It is the home of Bury Sailing Club, which is over there, that white building. And back. So, quick view down the hill here. That is the feeder that goes directly into the Manchester Bolton and Bury Canal. When we get down there, I'll show you where it goes into the canal and another little interesting feature of that area. So we're just going to have a walk around. This is, I suppose it's the dam really, as we look at it. All this wall side. Goes up to the farm in the distance and around the bend. So this place, I don't know if it's still like that, but it's still like this, but there used to be some monster fish in this place. They used to have matches on here. And if you look, there's numbers on the wall here. 30. 29. Those were the pegs that you used to fish when you was here on matches. There's no one up here fishing today, so it mustn't be as popular up here as it used to be. Now this wall, obviously this was built when the reservoir was built. It's not the best, but people have carved the names into the stonework and dates. So there's one here, 22nd of the 2nd, 74, so 1974. When I was younger I used to love coming up, seeing some of these dates on here. So 1961, Steve, 1967. Wonder what these people are doing now, if they're still with us. So we're going to head down to this bottom end towards Bury Sailing Club, and then we're going to drop down onto the canal itself. So as I approach the bottom end of the reservoir, get you a closer look of Bury Sailing Club. I'll look back across the reservoir. Really, really nice part of Bury this. So the way we go now is we drop down this path. Here is another part of an overflow from the reservoir, which carries on around, and it does meet up with the feeder to the canal. So we're heading down. It's not a public road, but it is a footpath. Don't know if you can see them, but there are grey wagtails. Can you see the bird in the tree there? They are, I believe, Great tits. Didn't really get a close enough look at them. So as I get down closer to the canal, coming across this area just here, behind the gate, and with this sort of earth embankment. Now, it's not always looked like that. When I was much younger, there used to be a nightclub here, known locally as Benny's. I did go a couple of times. They had an amazing cafe stroke restaurant upstairs. But what made Benny's different was back in the 1980s, Brian Robson, then captain of Manchester United in England, bought into the nightclub, and part of it became known as Robson's Piano Bar. And many an evening Brian would be in there himself with Manchester United teammates, because it was out of the way and they didn't get hassled. But like a lot of places, people stopped going and it became derelict, and this is what's left of it today. So as I approach this part now, I'm going to cross over a bridge which goes over the canal. I'll give you a view towards Bury and the view towards Ratcliffe. So that's the view towards Ratcliffe. And this is the view towards Bury. Just going to head down there now. So just to my right is the River Irwell. So, as I was saying, the reservoir was the feeder for this canal. There is, as I come down here, where the feeder enters the canal, but it goes out again virtually straight away, because just up from here towards Bury, it was decided that the canal, because it was no longer in use, was going to be infilled. So where does the water go if it's being fed into the canal and the canal is no longer in use? So this was built. So this is the overflow directly into the River Irwell. Which, I don't want to get too close, but you see it there. Thousands of gallons of water going straight into the Irwell. Now, just before Christmas 2025, this was completely choked with weed. But a weed boat was used, a couple of weed boats actually, to dig out the channel. So you look to the centre there now, there's a channel which is to the feeder for the canal. And it got water flowing again through the canal, over the overflow and into the River Irwell. But if you look, the weed was just dumped. Yeah, so not the best, but at least there is flow. There's a bit of flow on the water, and the water can breathe, so it's oxygenated. So we're going to carry on with the walk because the weather is turning a little bit bad. It is raining, but I'm going to head towards Ratcliffe, because that way towards Bury it's infilled 200 yards up from here, and it's just a walk along a footpath which then takes you to a road. Not very interesting up there. But heading this way, there's a few features. We're going to head down towards Ratcliffe, and I'm going to show you these features along the way. So the way I'm walking now, as I say, Ratcliffe is in front of me and Bury is behind me. So you can see all the evidence there from when the weed boat was on the canal. Heading along what's left of the bridge, mostly scaffold. But if you look, it's made of the blue engineering bricks that were made to last. Here, this plate of metal, it's got grooves in it. Now these grooves are from when the canal was in use, because the boats that used to come on this canal were horse drawn. So the ropes that attached the horse to the boats, when they came to the bridge, they needed somewhere where they wouldn't fray. So these were put in, and you can see that is where the ropes used to go through, so the ropes didn't fray and snap. I don't know if you can see it, how well it shows up on the camera, but the canal, because it's not in use, is very shallow. Probably 18 inches deep. It's silted up. And because boats don't use it, there's no channel for the boats to keep it moving. Hopefully that will change. If the canal does ever come back into use and being part of the main canal network again, which would be good. It's such an amazing feature we have in this area, very historic canal, and it's not utilised. So more evidence of where the weed boats had been working. Now just up here on the right hand side, across to the other bank, when I was very young, there used to be a boat that was left here. One of the old boats that was from when the canal was in use. Now I think it's rotted away and gone, but it was always a feature that I liked to see when I used to walk along this canal with my dad. I do know for a long time there was a little bit of metal work from the boat that was still there, you could see it, but I even think that's gone now. See, the canal used to run from Bury, then you had the Bolton arm that used to go into Bolton, it used to go down at Prestonleigh Locks towards Ringley and down towards Salford. Then at Salford it went down a series of more locks into the River Irwell in Manchester. It had links to the Bridgewater Canal, the Rochdale Canal, and the Salford Junction Canal. That's another canal now that has long gone. But it played a very important part of this area's history, transporting coal, cotton goods up and down the canal. It's just a shame that it's like this nowadays. So as I carry on walking, coming towards me now is a pair of mute swans. So majestic to see. Lovely creatures. So carry on walking down the canal. Got land to the left and land to the right. Now if Bury Council get their way, which they normally do, they want to develop this land, and I believe they want to build in the region of 3,500 new homes, which is the green belt land between Bury and Ratcliffe. Now if that's the case, that means that this area would be destroyed, and it's beautiful. Why would you want to destroy an area like this? The road networks from Bury to Ratcliffe were designed years and years and years ago. Just think, 3,500 new homes, on average say 2 cars per family living in these houses, so that's 7,000 cars extra on the roads, that are already congested. It's just going to bring Ratcliffe and Bury to gridlock, which is so short-sighted, it's unreal. Leave this as it is, you'll get people using it for walking, running, cycling, getting people healthy, not adding 7,000 cars to the road. So I don't know how well it's going to show up on the camera, but through the trees, what looks like a hill is evidence of the industrial past of this area. That is actually spoil from mining. So I don't know when the mine closed, but that is the evidence of the industrial past. Just along here, I don't know if we can still see it, but there is a big stone support. Yes, we can still see it. I'll show you when we get there. Now on this canal, as with many other canals, they had steam cranes. So the coal came from the mine and was loaded onto the boats for transport. Now there is one steam crane still in situ on this canal, which is on the arm towards Little Lever, so I'll cover that in another video. So here is the stone support, one of the big pegs there. So on this there would have been a steam crane loading the coal from over there at the mine onto the boats here. So as we continue our walk, we come across another bridge. Now this bridge serves farmland on that side, and we can't see it because of the undergrowth, but farmland onto that side. Same again, we've got the metal on the bridge with the notches for the ropes. Lovely arch bridge. Now this one doesn't seem to be made out of the blue engineering bricks, but it's still very good to look at. So this section of the canal didn't get the weed bolt before Christmas. As you can see, it's very overgrown. Water is choking a bit here. So hopefully the weed boats will be back soon. They can get a bit of a channel going again and get some oxygen into the water. My lad there fast asleep. So places like this need to be looked after. It's good for everyone's health, mental well-being. Gets you out of the house, gets you out walking, seeing a bit of the area. How many people have actually walked the entirety of the canal from Bury into Bolton and then down towards Manchester? Bet there's not many. So part of the reason why I am filming the canal is because of Bury Council's idea to build these homes. I want to document it as it is now before it gets destroyed. I think it should be left for future generations. If the canal does become part of the canal network again, which is the long-term goal, it needs to be left how it is. Not short-sightedness to build homes with a waterside feature. That's no good. You're going to lose all this countryside. So, just coming up on the left-hand side, I mentioned this in previous videos, but here's another mile marker. So this one says M11, so Manchester 11 miles. So just coming up now in front of me is Withings Bridge. Now this is where I ended one of my videos on the canal. So I've walked now from Bury to Withings and from Redbridge to Withings. So that is the full section of that complete. The next one will probably be Redbridge on towards Bolton. Now the weather has taken a turn for the worst. I'm filming this bit under the bridge. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. This is the last section of the video for today. If you've liked what I've filmed and what I've had to say, please comment, like, subscribe. See you soon in the next video. Bye for now.